I believe everybody has an addiction. My addiction just happens to be working out and getting better. So every day I gotta get up and I gotta do something to make myself better. I'm constantly striving to find things to make myself better. And at the end of the day, I can sleep well when I know that I did put in the work and I did make myself better. We sleep, we rest up, tomorrow comes, and I can do it all over again. Always moving forward. What's up, everyone? This is Bobby Lashley. Just finishing up my morning workout, and as I was working out, I started thinking, so many people have been asking me, what do I do to stay in shape? What do I do on a day-to-day? So I decided to start vlogging so I can let all of you into a little piece of my life outside of professional wrestling. I believe if anything is, so I always say when I come to the gym, I want to find something to fail at. It sounds a little backwards, but you always need something to build on. You know, go so hard that you can't go anymore. And take a break. I think a lot of people never get a chance to find out what their true potential is because they don't push themselves. Keeps me competitive. It keeps me energized to know that I have something to beat. Succeed at something and then fail at something else, so I have something to come back to. Man, coming off an injury is humbling. My favorite exercise I struggle with a little bit. There's always room to grow. When injuries happens, it always feels like you have to reset and start over. So, you know, I have a little bit of an injury. I had a surgery on my tricep. So right now, the buzz is what Bobby's gonna do next. And for me, it's always the same thing. It's always train, prepare, and get ready. So I'm just getting ready. There's a lot of things that I wanna do still in my life, whether it's coming back and making a big impact to win some more world championships, or I don't know. But I know one thing, I'll always be ready for whatever's next. One thing that I'm very passionate about, when people that know me, that are close to me, they ask me a question about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I love to give that knowledge. I love to teach, I love to coach. And one thing that I ultimately would like to do is start coaching, because I think I have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas to give. You know, right now I'm 48 years old and I'm in great shape, and I've been my entire life. And I have like little hacks that I've always used in order to keep myself in good shape, where I'm able to still enjoy everything, but at the same time stay in good shape. I think sometimes people put too much in their enjoyment and don't put enough into the repair and the maintenance of their self. So I think you can have both, the best of both worlds if you know how to do it. And that's one thing that I can show people, is how to have a lot of fun, but at the same time be in great shape and be ready for almost anything. I was a personal trainer for several years, and I studied and studied and I studied the craft because that was something that I was very enthused about ever since I was young. I was a really skinny kid when I was young. I mean, my freshman year, I was 110 pounds soaking wet, and I was playing football and I was wrestling and playing baseball and I was doing everything, but there was one thing that I really want to do is better myself. So I started just learning. And then I think with everyone, I think everybody needs to learn their self, and I can help people learn themselves, but that's what I did. I learned myself. I learned what was good for me. Man, I just finished my morning workout. Try to get it early before the kids get up. Sometimes I wake them up to do it with me, but I'm gonna fix some breakfast. I try to get something early, get something in. Breakfast is my favorite meal. I usually do just some egg whites and oatmeal. I keep it very basic, you know. I like to enjoy food. I love food, but I feel like if I stay as basic as possible for most of the time, when I want to go out and have a good meal or something like that, or try something different or hit up a new restaurant, I have that leeway to do it. So my basics are my egg whites, my oatmeal, little blueberries, maybe some breakfast sausage, something very basic. Over the past couple of years, I made a couple big moves in my life, and one of which being moving out to Texas. Now I live in Dallas now. I moved here about 2 years ago. I've always been announced from Colorado, so Texas has been a big change for me. I love Texas to this point. My dad's down here, my sister's here, and that's one thing. It's a huge passion of mine, is real estate. When I started WWE, many moons ago, I actually started in 2004, and one of my mentors when I got in was sitting next to me before one of the shows, and he kind of asked me, he said, "What are you doing with all your money?" It was when I started getting on a roll and became a little more popular. And I was like, "I don't know, I just bought a new car. I'm looking to buy a house eventually." And he was like, "No," he said, "That's a common mistake everybody makes." He said, "Start investing your money." He started talking to me about his real estate portfolio. And then I did my first house. My first house was a success. I mean, I bought a house for $42,000, put about $5,000 into it. I did all the work myself. I mean, I was learning about every aspect of painting walls, putting in new flooring, ripping out cabinets, putting in new cabinets. So I saved a lot of money by doing it myself. But I rented it out for $1,200 a month. I did that for a couple years, and then I sold it for $98,000. So my first real estate venture was a huge success. And then after that, I kind of fell in love with it. I kept turning these houses that were beat up into something that was nice. When I grew up, I lived in not the nicest neighborhood later on. In high school, my house was just destroyed. Everything was messed up. It seemed like either the water wasn't working, electricity wasn't working. Something was wrong with my house. So the houses that I buy now, I make sure to make them beautiful. If they're a $50,000 home, they have new plumbing, new electric, new flooring, new paint. It looks like a new house in there because I want everybody to have an opportunity to live in a nice house. Even though it could be lower income, it still can be nice and everything could be working. So that has been my passion. And that's another thing that I want to teach everybody, is a way to get into real estate and make money off real estate. I always say that people can find their way into real estate. A lot of times people say, I can't get into real estate because I don't have a lot of money. There are so many different routes to the end zone. My good friend used to always say, there's several different routes to the end zone. And that's the same thing with real estate. You can get into real estate, you just have to find out where. And then eventually you want to be that person that just brings money to the table and has everybody do stuff for you. But before you get to that level, you can take your baby steps of learning how to get into it. And there's so many different ways. And I can show you all those ways as we further along. All right, so right now I usually get up, I get my morning workout in, get some breakfast in, did a little bit of coaching. And now I have my meeting with Natalie. Natalie is my business manager. So with everything that I have going on, Natalie's the one that keeps everything together and keeps me on track.
Hello. So as Bobby's personal business manager, I play pretty much two roles. I fulfill the role of like an executive responsibilities and then creative responsibilities. So on the executive side, it's more like process improvement, time management, optimizing the schedule and commitments, vendor management, financial management, networking opportunities. And then on the creative side, I'm his personal photographer, and then also help with like updating his LinkedIn and IMDb page, creating the website actually that we're about to launch, and then also assisting with the entire brand identity for his nonprofit organization.
My office is kind of like my, a little bit of a walk of fame for my last few years. And I thought this was really cool. We put this together, and what this was all the pay-per-views that I did when I got back to WWE. So it just kind of walks through it. It was me and Braun Strowman against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Of course, we have our hands raised. That was May 6th, 2018. And then this was the stint where me and Lana were married. It was a storyline that I went through, which helped me out a little bit with my career, because I think what Vince was trying to do is he was wanting to see different levels of me, because everybody knows me as angry Bobby that likes to beat people up, which I don't mind being, and as you can see, I'm here and a lot, but he wanted to see a little different side of me. He wanted me to kind of work on different levels of my character and who I was, so people can kind of know a little bit more about me. So we went to this line. Lana was absolutely incredible. I think she's just an amazing person, and she really helped me out a lot with that, and kudos to her for making that angle what it was, because she was all in with everything that we did. And then as you go forward, I mean, there's also so many different iconic matches that I had here. Here's where I was with Drew McIntyre. I beat him in Hell in a Cell to retain my WWE Championship. I love fighting Drew because Drew just has that character. I mean, Drew is just that dude. The Scottish Warrior, he was always one of my favorite opponents. But then also, me and Kofi down here. This was one of my favorite times of my entire wrestling career. It was a Hurt Business. During the pandemic, I had an opportunity to work with some of my favorite people in this entire world, and Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and Cedric Alexander. We came through during pandemic and we ran the show. We did everything. There was times where some guys were like, oh, I can't make it to the show because I don't want to travel, or whatever the case was. So we took over and we did absolutely everything. We ran that show. We were doing 4 and 5 different segments. We were everything. And the crowd loved us. The tragedy, the sad part of that whole entire time was we never was able to perform in front of a live crowd. That was crazy. It was crazy that that even happened. I mean, we were the biggest thing on TV, so much synergy with us because we were truly good friends. And after every one of the shows, we would all go to this little sports bar and we'd eat chicken wings, maybe have a drink, and then we would just chat. That's what we did every week. And there's not too often in the wrestling business that people actually have that, where they actually like the people that they work with. So everything was with us was natural. People felt it, people knew it, and people loved it. And hopefully we have an opportunity to run that back because that was money, in my opinion. But then the progression here is where defeated the champ, Roman Reigns, at Extreme Rules. I mean, not too many people can say that they beat Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is going to go down in the history books as the greatest WWE performer. I mean, he held the title for the longest period of time and over 3 years, and just has a storyline that changed wrestling and basically ran the show for several years. So I was one of the people that was fortunate enough to beat him. First, we'll start with this one, which I think is just truly incredible. I think this thing is amazing. The artist that did this, and he sent a video of it, this is all pencil strokes. Okay, I thought, and everybody when they come in there, they look at it, they're like, man, that's a pretty cool picture, which it is. But this guy did this with pencil, like just sketching. I mean, just an amazing artist. I really got into art lately, so around my house, I've been trying to pick up different pieces of art from different artists, and I fell in love with art. I think it's just amazing, something that I cannot do at all. So it just kind of heightens that level of interest for me. But I just think it's incredible when people can put something together like this, and this was amazing. And then if we go over here, this is another artist from the Dallas area that I met, actually a good wrestling fan, and actually a pretty cool guy. And when he put this together, it's a little bit different, you know, it's not the typical drawing, but what I like about this is that he put a lot of symbolism in it. So everything in here, there's so much going on with this. At WrestleMania first year, I did the Money in the Bank ladder match. So he has this down here for Money in the Bank. He has OVW up here, that's where I started wrestling, okay? He put here because I am a king. He put this right here, there's some blood on my lip. I fought MMA for about 10 years. And during one of my fights, you know, guy got me a little bit here, so I had a little blood on my lip. So he thought that was pretty cool, so he put it here. Then we have the Almighty. Then he has stars on here. So stars on here are all the championships that I won. So there's stars here, there's a couple here, and he tried to put stars all over the place from the different championships that I won. Of course, we're gonna keep adding more stars because there's gonna be more championships to come. And then up here, I think during my new entrance, I had like a lot of pyro, so it was like lightning coming down. So he wanted to highlight that in there also. So, but overall, you know, this is incredible, but I think a lot of people, when they see this, it kind of catches their eye. So people ask about this a lot, and I like to tell the story on this one. But then again, I go back over here and let them know that this was done with pencils. So that was just incredible. Then of course my belt, boom, boom, boom. Actually not belts in WWE, we call them titles. So some of the titles that I won, there's also several other ones that I have to get up here. I won the TNA World Championship, and then I won the X Division Championship over there, and then it just keeps going on and on. And the ECW Championship, that's one that I gotta get for my collection. Over here, this is something that is really important to me also. This is where it all began. I wrestled in college. I was a 3-time national champion when I wrestled in college. So they named the outstanding wrestler every year. They give the outstanding wrestler award, and they named it the Bobby Lashley Outstanding Wrestler Award, which is very important to me because I came from the world of wrestling and I still have that love and passion for wrestling. But when I had my first stint in WWE, it was like, I really learned the lesson how it is with pro sports. A lot of athletes come in, they make a tremendous amount of money, but when they stop, that money stops. And that was one thing that is kind of humbling for a lot of athletes, because they just think that that money can go on forever, and they think because they made so much it can just last them for the rest of their life. And a lot of people come to the harsh reality that it doesn't. So you always have to, as athletes, performers, whatever it is, you always got to plan for the future. And I always believe in putting money into assets and really learning how to invest our money, so that if something happens in that sport, God forbid, you always have something that is going to still enable you to create and carry on the lifestyle that you've grown accustomed to in your sport. So what I did is I started doing real estate, and this is just some of my properties, because of course this week we picked up a couple other properties, so we have to go back through and we have to kind of get our board together. So what I do with all of it is we keep it all on the board, so we know when we picked it up, how much we paid for it, our rehab cost, the status. We have a line item for status. Status means whether we're renting it, whether it's in rehab. I have a couple here that my mom owned. Of course, you got to buy your mom a house. That's important. Take care of your family first. Some of them are listed for sale, and then the income that I'm bringing in from it. So a lot of them I like to do a lot of rentals. So rentals gives you that mailbox money, which is important. You know, a lot of people like to do flips. Whenever they think about real estate, they're like, oh, I want to flip a house. I'm like, yeah, flipping a house is one thing, but I think for me is that residual income. You know, when I stop wrestling, or when I stop doing, I don't think I'm ever going to stop. So let's not even say that. just to keep some security, because I got to pay bills. I got to put 2 more kids through school, and I got a house. I got all kinds of bills to pay. So with that, I want to make sure that I have a good slush fund with mailbox money, people like to call it. So that's what I keep this line item for. What I tell people with this is, if you have money coming in, you can put it in the bank, and the bank is going to give you no interest on it. With my properties right now, I try to follow the 1% rule. So whatever I buy it for, I want 1% of that a month for rent. So with that being said, that's 12% a year minimum. Some of those I'm doing a lot better than that. So it's like putting my money into a bank account and at least getting a 12% annual interest, which is huge. No banks can even touch that. So I always tell people, if you don't really necessarily need the money, park it into a house. You have an asset to back it, plus you're getting a 12% return on it, plus the appreciation of the house. So the appreciation of the house is probably going to bring you way past that 12% when it's all said and done. So it's a good investment to put into. So we always constantly improve this board just so that we can get a snapshot of what I'm doing with real estate. And if somebody's coming in and they want to see what I'm doing, or they want to understand it, they want to learn from it, I always have something visual that they can look at. Because if not, you're just getting me talking about it, and I like to go with it. I love real estate. Over the course of years, I've learned so many secrets, and for those that want to learn some of the secrets that I have from my business side and to my fitness side. So for anybody that wants to learn some of my little hacks, you know, you can comment them below, because I'm thinking about going into coaching, and I just want to know if you guys would be interested in hearing some of the things that I do, how I do it, and some of my basic hacks to fitness, real estate, to everything.